Welcome. Good morning. This is Monty once again from DPL Surveillance Equipment. A little bit of smoke in the air out here in sunny Southern California, specifically Camarillo, California. Every once in a while, the wind blows in the right direction, and we do get a whiff of smoke from the fires that are basically 97% contained. It looks like they're definitely getting a handle on the fires. Unfortunately, going to get some rain. I think it's already started up north in Northern California, but down south we're going to get a few days of rain here also. Other than that, things are great. Looks like oil prices are coming down, so that's good news. People are going on their little Thanksgiving trips and visiting family members. I imagine the conversations around Bitcoin is not going to be too pleasant. Even though today is the actual birthday of Bitcoin itself, it's 10 years old. So congratulations, you guys, and all of us who have held strong up to this point. I think we have a bright future ahead. Unfortunately, we still have volatility. We still have needless government interventions and stuff like that. A certain amount of uncertainty still surrounding whether or not it's going to be viable or not. You got your naysayers and your doomsdaysayers and everything else, doomsdayers, all these skeptics and critics. But anyway, we're getting past all of that rhetoric, and we're finding that we have a viable alternative, and that it's 10 years old and it hasn't gone anywhere, and hopefully it won't go anywhere. As far as anything stopping it. So we just have to stay the course. Other than that, El Stupido Trump is talking about congratulating the Saudis for keeping oil prices low, even though everyone knows, at least people who are somewhat knowledgeable, that they know that we know that the Saudis, if they had their way, they would have higher oil prices, but every member of the cartel, the OPEC cartel, they actually are cheating. That's what causes overproduction and makes the prices go down. When the OPEC cartel members don't adhere to their own policies of maintaining a certain amount of production at lower levels as compared to higher levels. So when people cheat, they produce more oil than they're supposed to, and then that causes more oil to be on the market. Besides, we have a global slowdown. I don't know who has their head up their asses or in the sand or what, but we're experiencing a global slowdown overall. That means you have less demand for oil. So El Stupido, again, is trying to lead you guys to believe that his agreement with the Saudis is responsible for keeping the oil prices low, when in actuality, Saudi Arabia and the OPEC cartel members, they cheat between one another, and that overproduction is what keeps oil prices low. And when you have a global slowdown like what we're seeing right now, where most every fucking country on the planet is like trying to figure out how to boost their economy and keep everything from falling apart completely. That's indicative of a larger problem, not an agreement between Trump administration, the Trump administration, and OPEC. Absolutely nothing to do with it. When things slow down globally, you just don't need as much oil. Plain and simple. What else? Looks like Ivanka Trump has probably gotten herself in a little bit of a bind. Democrats are saying that because of her usage of the government emails on her personal account, that could be an issue. So she's probably going to be answering a few questions, or somebody's going to be answering a few questions according to the democratically led House. As soon as they come back from as soon as they start their new session with all the freshmen coming in, they're probably going to start investigations on Melania. In addition to everything else, the Trump-related investigations definitely will start picking up steam. So my name is Monty Henry, by the way, owner of BPL Surveillance Equipment. I run a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products. We have 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. The largest inventory of items, and not only can you buy, but you can rent and you can lay away as well. We have a huge and growing media center, demonstration videos, articles, blogs, podcasts. We talk about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. We talk about health and fitness, economics and finance, cybersecurity, surveillance and counter-surveillance, anti-terrorism technologies and such on our website. This information, it's really ridiculous. Deutsche Bank, UBS, HSBC, Wells Fargo, Citibank, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, all of these guys, every single day I'm just keep finding articles where somebody's laundering or doing illicit funds transfers back and forth, avoiding sanctions for the Russians, for the Chinese, for the Iranians. It's insane. These banks and these financial institutions, Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, these guys do not at all care about complying with rules and regulations. I don't know how they talk about cryptocurrencies with a straight face. If you go to my website, if you look at the one article that talks about central bankers and Federal Reserve members and major banks have their all have their fingers in this or something. So I can't remember the exact title, but it basically says all of them have sticky fingers. Just do a search on sticky fingers in the search menu on my website. You're going to get an article that's got to be it seems like it's 50 pages long every day or every other day. I'm adding more cases, more situations where some bank is caught red-handed. I'll be adding Merrill Lynch today to that list, that ever-growing list of banks and financial institutions that are ripping everyone off. This latest one, which I'm going to talk about today in a second, has to do with Merrill Lynch forcing their brokers to cause the customer to take on more debt. In other words, it's not enough for you to invest with Merrill Lynch and have them invest your money in assets and then hopefully grow your portfolio that way. They want to force you to take loans out against your portfolio so that the brokers can make a monthly fee based upon how much debt you incur through debt-related products that Merrill Lynch has. And that's just going to cause you guys to have more and more debt. It's indicative. It's a microcosm of the entire system. Nobody is happy unless you guys have more and more debt. $13 trillion in consumer or household debt. That's a record. $22 trillion in government debt. That's what you guys owe each and every family member. 6.6 or 7% corporate debt. That's outstanding. Hundreds of trillions of dollars in unfunded pensions, and that's government and private pensions that are unfunded with no foreseeable way that's going to be paid off. So when you add up all the debt, worldwide debt, corporate debt, everybody is swimming in debt, okay? My debt, personally, is about zero. Every time I put $20 on my credit card, I pay it off immediately the next day. So we're not contributing to this debt-laden society, and hopefully you guys can see through that smokescreen and realize that that's a trap that will definitely keep you stressed out, preoccupied, distracted, you name it. Working for the man, you name it. That's what happens when you have too much debt. You just pedal around on a hamster wheel and you never get anywhere. Anyway, the website is newly redesigned. Looks good, works great, works fast. Go to it there and check out the state-of-the-art new products, lots of used products, lots of spy gadgets. All of them are law enforcement grade. All of them are backed by our policy of 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. Let me see. So let's take a look at this, at the article today. My wife is texting me some crazy messages, distracting me. But let's get to this article and see what Merrill Lynch is doing to people now. They're going to be trying to get away with murder. When times get slow, you guys, these companies, they step up the pressure to get away with murder, knowing they'll just pay a fine and a penalty. If you try to do this or I try to do that, what they're doing, you go to jail or prison. So let's take a look at what Merrill Lynch is trying to do now. Some Merrill Lynch brokers say pay plan urges more customer debt. Again, some Merrill Lynch brokers say pay plan urges more customer debt. Financial advisors have complained that the pay structure pits them against their clients. Some brokers at Merrill Lynch are pushing back against a compensation plan they claim rewards them for increasing debt their clients take on, and in some cases can punish them for reducing it. Some of the 15,000 financial advisors at Merrill have complained internally to management about a compensation structure they say urges more customer debt at a time when interest rates are rising, according to brokers and managers. Others have written over the past year to Andy Sieg, head of Merrill Lynch Wealth Management, saying the policy potentially pits them against their clients' interests. The skirmish is occurring as brokers digest pay policies that include what amounts to a broad pay reduction as well as changed targets for attracting new business and cross-selling certain products. Those who miss growth targets earn less than in the past. Those who jump certain hurdles stand to get a bonus. In other words, if you cheat and if you do an end run around the rules and regulations at Merrill, you make more money as compared to complying. You make less money. One of the targets focuses on growing clients' net new assets and liabilities, including things like securities, backed loans, and mortgages, by at least 2.5% annually. While acknowledging some complaints from brokers, Mr. Sag said that the pay program has motivated many financial advisors and helped to boost growth at Merrill. He said management considers risk for conflicts of interest and designed the plan so it doesn't favor one product over another. Mr. Sag said brokers are expected to serve clients' best interests, even if an interaction could have a negative impact on pay. We must trust our financial advisors to do the right thing, he said, adding the firm has supervisory functions in place to monitor behavior. This summer, about a third of Merrill brokers had pay taken back by the firm. Before 2018, there were no pay penalties connected to client liabilities. So it looks like publicly, these companies state one thing, but internally, everyone knows you don't make very much money unless you push the agenda of the company, and that simply means every customer needs to be in debt. They need to buy these loan products as compared to just investing in equities, for instance. This summer, about a third of Merrill Lynch brokers had pay taken back by the firm. Okay, I read that one. Adding to tension within the Merrill ranks, some brokers say they feel pressure to push Bank of America products, such as checking accounts, to wealthy investor clients. Merrill is the brokerage arm of Bank of America. Advisors can make up lost compensation by acquiring new clients and doing more for existing clients. The catch, some brokers say, is that growing portfolios by pushing clients to take on debt can be easier than finding new assets. So again, if you go through your database of existing clients as a Merrill Lynch broker and you get them to take on these debt-backed products, instruments that Merrill has, you make more money. As we're going to see, you make a recurring monthly fee, as we're going to see later. Loans that are backed by a client's investment portfolio are a particular favorite of brokerage firms, says Jeffrey Hart, brokerage analyst at Sandler O'Neill and Partners. It's taking money that's already there and making more money on it versus the much harder job of going out and growing assets, he added. Advisors say such loans, known at Merrill as loan management accounts, can sometimes be useful. One example, a person who needs cash during an emergency doesn't want to suddenly sell investments to raise it. Instead, the person could borrow against the investment portfolio. So again, this is indicative of what's happening in the 401k arena. Unfortunately, a lot of individuals, for instance, are taking their 401ks and they're borrowing against their 401ks, and then they end up not making additional contributions, and they end up eventually liquidating their entire 401k, which causes you to not have any retirement at all when you leave the firm. You have nothing to transfer, right? So this is basically what's happening at Merrill Lynch right now. If you have an investment portfolio, these brokers are going to try to convince you that you need to prepare for the day when you want to borrow against your loan portfolio, and that means that they have a loan against your portfolio. You have a loan against it, which means basically now your entire portfolio could be at risk because somebody convinced you that you need to borrow against it versus just not using it at all for anything but leaving it there for retirement. So anyway, let's see here. Tell my wife to drive safely. She's going to the gym. And I'll meet her in a little bit. We'll put in about 4 or 5 hours. I'll put in about 4 or 5 hours at the gym. Let's see. So anyway, so you guys got to be careful when you have an investment account or something, savings or retirement account, and people want you to borrow against it, and that's putting the whole thing at risk. Some brokers at Merrill Lynch are pushing back against a compensation plan they claim rewards them for increasing their debt their clients take on, and in some cases can punish them for reducing it. Some of the 15,000 financial advisors at Merrill have complained internally to management about a compensation structure they say urges more customer debt at a time when interest rates are rising. Let me see, I think I hit that one already. This has happened when your wife distracts you. Merrill isn't alone in pushing such loans. Brokerages have amassed roughly $200 billion in securities-backed debt over the past decade, according to wealth management consulting firm Mink Hollow Advisors. And while Merrill's compensation structure has changed, these debts held by clients have actually declined. Merrill clients in the third quarter had $37.4 billion in debt backed by their investments, the smallest amount since the start of 2015. So it looks like this is a growing area of Merrill Lynch, not currently the biggest revenue source, but definitely growing, looks like. Still, some brokers claim the compensation program could lead them, in some cases, to favor a client maintaining debt if paying it down would reduce investment holdings as well as the loan balance. Advisors keep a portion of the monthly fees the firm charges for debt products. Customers pay fees of around 1% of assets under management and up to 0.7% of securities-backed loan balances. So it looks like, again, you get the advisors make a monthly fee, and they're trying to grow this other revenue area of where we have debt. If a client wants to sell investments to pay down a loan, that shrinks the holdings that are the basis for the broker's compensation. It also counts twice against the target for new net asset and liability growth. Some Merrill Lynch customers have complained about the lending push following the most recent changes, according to a person at the firm handling 3 such complaints. Mr. Saik said the firm closely tracks client complaints. We have not seen any increase in complaint activity around lending products, he said. In 2015, FINRA, which is a financial regulator, fined Merrill Lynch $7 million for inadequate supervision around LMAs, or loan management accounts. The firm settled without admitting or denying wrongdoing. So that pretty much wraps up that article, you guys. But be aware, look, We're going into a recession. We're already in a recession, I'm sorry. Don't be stupid, okay? If you got an investment account at a company, 401k, loan management account, Merrill Lynch, Fidelity, I don't care where it is, Capital One, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase, don't borrow against it, okay? You need the money. You're going to need the money. It needs to grow to a substantial amount when you retire, not a smaller amount. Because the more you borrow against these things, the more money you take out, the less emphasis you're going to put on not only continuing your contributions, but just making sure that you leave it so it can grow and compound, hopefully. But that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to cause you guys to be poor, quicker, and while at the same time they make more fees because their employers force them to do this. So that's what their advisors and the brokers are telling you in this article. There's a conflict of interest, and you guys are going to come up short. Anyway, happy birthday, Bitcoiners. As I like to say at the end of every podcast, you guys keep your eyes and ears open and stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Thanks. Bye.